Matt here at CapForge Bookkeeping and Tax, and we currently work with over 1,100 e-com sellers, and I frequently get the question, hey Matt, what can I do to make my e-com business better? What would be helpful to me? What would make me more money and help me grow better? And it's a good question, and the answer isn't always the same for everyone. But what I thought was really interesting was I came across a story of an e-com seller who is not a client, but who has what is, in my opinion, the perfect e-com business. And what I think you can learn from hearing about somebody with a perfect e-com business is what you can potentially look at your business with and see how you can move closer to what a potentially perfect business looks like. And of course, you know, perfect is subjective. Everybody has different goals and different things they're shooting for. So this may not be exactly your idea of a perfect business, but from an overall business standpoint, and as an entrepreneur myself and somebody who looks at businesses all the time thinking about, well, if I was starting from scratch or if I was going to get into this industry, how would I do it? This example to me is about as perfect as you can get. I think this guy has done it 100% right. I saw the story about this e-com business on a website called Starter Stories, where they profile different entrepreneurs and sort of their path to their success or where they're at now. And this place is called Empire Off-Road, where Empire has a Y in it instead of an I. The write-up featured Greg Shuey. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Greg Shuey is the founder of Empire Off-Road. And in my opinion, the example that he spells out here is perfect. He's not a client. Greg, call me if you want. You know, if you want some help on the accounting side for your e-com business, I'd love to work with you. He's not currently a client. This is not a pitch for his business or an affiliate, whatever. I don't sell off-road parts, but I just think it's really cool to see what somebody who's doing everything right looks like and how you can compare where you're at to see how that stacks up with what you've got going on. So what he did differently, I think, is the key to the whole e-com secret of success, if there is such a thing. Most sellers will first go and find a product. They'll say, okay, I'm going to do my research. They're going to use a tool like Jungle Scout or Helium 10, and they're going to say, okay, let me look for a product in between this price point and that point, this size and that size, this weight and that weight, certain amount of, you know, sellers in that category, BSR rank and all this stuff. And they're trying to find something that's got demand, but, you know, that they can be successful with. They think they can offer something a little different. The entire process is focused around finding a product, which is challenging because if you're thinking about the product, then you're hoping that there are customers who want to buy that product. But you're starting with the product. And I think the problem is if you don't know who your customer is and you're not starting with the customer and why they'd want to buy this product and what they're thinking about and what matters to them, then you're doing it backwards. And there's plenty of people that sell products that never thought about who the customer would be who are successful. But a lot of them have been around a long time and they built up this huge moat of positive reviews and Amazon's choice ranks and all that stuff that gives them an edge, but it's not because they've thought about who the customer is. Well, today on Amazon and other e-commerce in general, it's so competitive that if you don't have an edge, if you don't have a reason for somebody to come and find your product and buy it from you when they have a million other choices, it's going to be really hard to compete on much besides price, and competing on price is a losing battle. There's little enough margin as it is in e-commerce to then turn around and try and also compete on price. So in this case, what Greg did was really cool. He started with the customer. So apparently he's into off-road vehicles, and not just vehicles, but specifically Toyotas, and not specifically Toyotas, not just Toyotas, but specifically Toyota Tundras. And he was involved in or enjoyed adding custom parts to his Tundra, including a grill piece. And I don't know, I'm not a truck guy or off-road guy or whatever, so I'm just kind of going from what was in the article. But apparently There's a group of people who really enjoy customizing their Toyota Tundra trucks, right? Very specific market, people who are enthusiastic, people who are willing to spend money, people who are looking for cool new stuff. So Greg found this group and decided to design a grill piece that apparently you could find online, but they were expensive and not as cool as he wanted and not the quality he was looking for, and at a price point that he didn't think made sense. So he designed his own, but rather than going to market or rather than ordering 1,000 of them, he first went to the community that he had found online that he had become part of, and got their feedback on designs and got their input on, do you like this or this? Is this cool or that cool? Would you be willing to buy it? If it was this much or that much, he did all the market research up front. He only spent a few $1,000s actually making a very small first batch run of 25 of these things, which he then immediately sold out because he already knew who the customers were. He already knew what they wanted. He already knew he could make something that they would be willing to buy. He started with the customer, not the product. And then when he found success with the initial batch, he scaled up, he built more products, and then he added products to his product line. Not by going back and doing general research on trying to find another product and another niche and another. He went back to the same customers he already knew, who already knew him, who were happy with the first product he sold them, and he figured out what else they'd want to buy. What other accessories, what other things they wanted to add to their trucks. He expanded to different kinds of trucks. He expanded into different areas of different kind of products, but always with the focus on, this is my customer list. This is my customer base. What do they want to buy? And it didn't matter if it was heavy or expensive or fit in a certain category or whatever. He basically built a brand where he could charge whatever he wanted within reason, but he could control his margins, and his customers weren't going to find, oh, that's cool, let me see if I can go find it cheaper, because he's the only one that made it. And they weren't looking to find something cheaper because they wanted his stuff, because he built this brand that they connected with, and he knew exactly where to find them. He wasn't just hoping that they would come across his keyword and skip by the other sponsored ads and find his product in there and paying a ton for sponsored product ads. He knew who his customer was, he knew where to find them, he knew what they wanted, he knew what they'd be willing to pay. In other words, it's the perfect e-commerce business. You know you've got customers ready to pay before you start, before you invest the money, before you stock up on products. You don't have to spend a ton on keywords, general keywords, hoping people will pick yours. You don't have to compete on price. It's the perfect e-commerce business. You're in control. You set the price. You set the margin. You set the quantity. You know who the customers are. You can market as many products to them as they're willing to buy, and they'll tell you what they want to buy before you even get started. If I was starting an e-commerce business, this is where I would start. I would start with identify a customer base. People with money to spend, enough of them, as specific as I could get without getting too small, right? I'm not going to sell mittens for cats that have 6 toes. That's too niche. But I'm not going to sell cat clothes because that's too broad. Actually, I'm not going to sell anything to do with cats because I'm not a huge cat fan. But you get the idea. Find a market of people enthusiastic about some specific topic who are spending money on it. Interact with them, learn them, preferably be one of them, and then figure out what are they interested in, what can you do better than what's available to them currently as a product. Start with one you can make money on from the outset, and then add products as they tell you what they want, making sure every single product is profitable and carries its own weight. It's part of your catalog because it's a product that you can make money with, not just because it somehow fits into the general idea of the catalog, and grow from there. And you'll never have to worry about competitors from overseas. You won't have to worry about competing on price. You won't have to worry about where to find customers or huge ad spend eating all your margins. That's the perfect e-commerce business. Greg cracked the code, but I don't think it's a secret. I think I just told you what it is. The hard part is figuring out who your customers are. But once you know your customer, who that person is, what they want, where to find them, The rest of it should be easy because it either will or won't work for them, and you should be able to find that out before you spend a dime investing in those products, investing in products to try and sell. So again, this isn't every e-commerce model. This isn't exactly what everyone can turn around and do, but if you haven't started one yet, or you're thinking about launching another one, or you're trying to figure out how to tweak the product catalog that you already have, this is my suggestion. This is how to do it. Start with the customer, build from there. If you know who your customer is, the rest of your decisions should be easy. If you're not really sure who your customer is, or how to find them, or who's buying your product, or why they're buying your product, or why they're picking your product over their other choices, everything else is a guess, and it's much, much harder to be successful under that scenario. I hope that helps. I hope that gives you something to think about with your e-commerce business and how you can improve it, starting from a high level and then working your way down from there.